Hey guys, and welcome to another First Impressions video, the video game series in which we look at a new or soon to be released game and I give you my first thoughts and impressions on it. Today we are looking at the infuriating mess that is Interastra. It is a first person survival game with puzzles and jumping mechanics and jump puzzles and other godforsaken puzzles mixed in. I have spent the better part of the last hour just trying to do one section of the game. It is infuriating and I don't understand why games need to put puzzles in them when it's a survival game. I don't understand. But anyway, as always, we will look at the settings first and then we'll jump straight into the gameplay. I will be starting a new game and then I will be showing you the part of the game that I'm actually stuck on, because that's the fairest way that I can do it. Otherwise you're not going to see any other gameplay other than me getting entirely frustrated. So let's not waste any more time. Let's jump straight into the game and see what I think, shall we? Alright then, the first red flag is the options. The options are lacking. There are next to none of them, and it's a real shame, especially with a game that looks, to be fair, this good. First off, there is 0 FPS settings. You can't set anything, so I don't actually know how this game's going to record. You've got your resolution, which do go all the way up to 1440p. Your video options is woeful. You've got low, medium, and high. You've got no customization here at all. You've got no way of tailoring it to your system. It needs improving. This is not acceptable, especially on a game that is fairly graphically intensive like this one. Your audio, everything is turned all the way up and it is incredibly loud. I'm actually going to turn it down for the purpose of this video as well, but yes. Why? So many games these days are actually taking it upon themselves to not max out the volume and blow your ear holes out. However, this game has decided to forego that. Your keybinds, you can actually rebind your keys, which is nice. There is no controller support, which is probably a bit of a shame. And then your gameplay. You've got your control tips on, mouse sensitivity, invert, and autosave. And that's your lot. That's your options. That's your first red flag. Not good enough. Want to see more. That being said, let's actually have a look at the gameplay and see what the game actually plays like. Let's jump straight into that. Alright, let's jump into red flag number 2. These are unskippable cutscenes. You have to wait until the text has actually gone through before you can jump into the game. So if you want to start a new save, you've got to go through all of this again. And this wouldn't be a problem except for the fact that the way that the text runs on the screen, it does that whole backward scroll thing and you can't really read it upon the background. Once you get into the game, however, it looks fairly promising. It reminded me of Moon Landing, which is a game I played not too long ago. As you can see, it's got all of your normal survival gear. However, there isn't a map, not one that you can uncover or anything. You've just got the compass in the top of the screen, which really isn't all that helpful. So we walk through and we get out and you're greeted with a fairly nice and pretty environment. Now, it tells you to unlock or gather certain edibles and things, but it doesn't tell you anything more than that. So I was wandering around and I didn't realize that these goo droplets are actually liquid that you are supposed to take for drinkable water. I just thought they were like lights. So I was wandering around for a bit, wondering why I could find food so readily but not the water. But so far so good. It seems like a pretty bog standard, very atypical sort of survival game. You gather your materials and away you go. However, it doesn't really give you any more backstory than that opening sequence, and the music, the soundtrack, if you like, the ambient sounds are they're not great. They're a bit disconcerting. So we've got our materials. I'm going to collect a couple more, and then it tells you to use them, which is fair enough. You use your right and left, you use your left mouse button. And then it's just find a way to leave the planet. No other direction. Cool, you've got food, you've got water, now get out of here. Crack on. Which isn't great. Not the best sort of tutorial jump, honestly. I would have said maybe instead of find a way to leave the planet, would be explore the next cave, or find a way to craft, or, you know, find more materials, something like that. Now, the other thing is if you press tab and you look at your inventory, you've actually got quite a bit of cool stuff. Why doesn't it tell you to check your inventory? You've got a scanner, you've got a gun, you've got power cells, and you've got a first aid kit. Why does the game not inform you of this? I stumbled across this because I actually, like I say, I couldn't find the water droplets, so I actually wandered through this cave first, and it was like, oh, there's a crafting table here. Oh, I could probably do with scanning or making a new scanner without realizing I had one the entire time. Which is fine, but then it's kind of like, well, why is it going to allow me to make one if it gives me one from the get-go? I don't understand. It doesn't really make sense. And the thing is, there's a few things with the gun that this does. You know, you've got to take that into account. Now, the other thing that's the problem with this is reloading. You can't just put another cell in it unless you've got to have it in your inventory. I'm not entirely sure. You have to hold R and then select it from that menu for it to put a fresh power cell in the first place. That's not ideal. But then you can scan things and you get blueprints for things, so you can go ahead and make them in your crafting station and your terminal. Now, you've got an inbox and you can download and get a blueprint for your power cells, so you can start making new ones. Fine. Crafting table. You require a lot. You require finding a lot, and it doesn't really tell you where you're going to find this stuff and how you're going to get it. This is the thing. The tutorial doesn't really tell you any of this. You kind of find it out before before you're told how to do it. And then, you know, so you go along, certain things you can find. So you've got plant materials, so I can make a first aid kit. I can make rations now, so I'm assuming that they're probably going to be better than just straight up berries and stuff. And then it's like, oh, you need to go ahead and get a drill, right? But it marks this on the map. You can't do it yet, but it marks it on the map. It doesn't mark the cave on the map just yet. Granted, it's straight behind you, but if you're a blind idiot like me, then you're not going to find it. But overall, so far, so good. It's when you do this bit that the game fails tremendously, because after I pick up the tool that it tells you to get, you know, after you've scanned it and done all that, the cave then decides to break on you. And apparently, no way around that, the cave is going to break on you. And then you've got to start exploring this maze. And then it starts introducing puzzles. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come out of this bit, and I'm going to go into the part that I'm stuck on. I'm going to explain my entire frustration with this game, because I haven't been able to get any further because I'm stuck by an arbitrary jump puzzle, which, in my mind at least, is very broken. Alright, so we're at the jump puzzle. You basically find a cave, and bearing in mind your health and your water are going down, but there is a nutrients bit not too far from here. Now, if we do a quick test and I walk and jump, you can see that I actually have a fair amount of jumping prowess. So you would look at this and think, not too bad, right? Wrong. There is an invisible wall for the ceiling, which doesn't really make much sense, because you look at the distance you've got between here and the roof, and there is a fair amount of it. But if you are too close to the roof, your jumping is severely hampered. On top of which, you've got this weird fog effect, which is, it's not the best. It makes me feel a bit weird. I'm not a fan of it. It's not great. So the problem I've got is that you've got to time it just right, and you've got to jump just right, because otherwise you don't jump at all. There is no grab button, so even if you make the jump but don't quite make the jump according to the game, you can't grab and pull up. You've got to get it exactly right. And I am no good at jumping puzzles. I will quite happily admit I'm no good at jumping puzzles, which is fine. Not everybody is. My problem is I don't understand why there is a jumping puzzle in a survival game where you have constantly got the stress of losing out on materials and things, and to have it so early on, for me at least, is going to put a lot of people off. And I have been struggling with this jump puzzle because of this bit here. You've got no jump because that is the tallest block in this part, and it puts you right next to the ceiling. You've got no jumping ability, and it's kind of stupid to have it where the ceiling plays so much of a part. I don't understand, because it feels like sometimes I can jump properly and it's fine, and other times I can't. And it's not a good feeling. It just creates a wave of frustration that, as a player, I don't want to be feeling. It's not ideal. And then I've done this before, got all the way to the end, and then fall down, and there's no second platform that can get you past this. You've got to start all over again. And the fog is disorienting, and I don't know what else this game has got to offer, and I don't want to play it anymore. Which is a shame, because like I say, when I first started this, I was like, this is alright. This is a fairly standard survival game with a decent amount of crafting that you can do, plenty of items you've got to go out and farm, and, you know, maybe we're going to go off the island, the planet, and when we get off the planet, we will be able to go and explore some more. However, 10-15 minutes into the game, I've been stuck for the past hour on this godforsaken jumping puzzle, which jumping puzzles in first person are never fun. I know if I could change into third person, I would probably have done it already, because I'd be able to tell, my perception would be better, and the lighting isn't going to be as bad because I'm going to be away from the fog, so I'm going to be able to see what I'm doing, and it just would be a better experience. This jumping puzzle this early in, with this amount of bullshit, is gonna kill this game, in my opinion. It's a very subjective thing. There might be people that enjoy this jumping puzzle, there might be people that enjoy puzzles in general, but for me, it's killed it. I don't want to play this game anymore. I am not enjoying this game anymore. I just want to get past this, and I can't, and I'm not going to play it anymore. This is it for me. Interastra, you had such potential and you've ruined it for yourself, I'm afraid. Jumping puzzles in first person should not be done. Jumping puzzles in a survival game should definitely not be done. That's it. You've ruined your game with this one section of the game. So there you have it. Agree with me, disagree with me, let me know in those comments down below, and I will see you all next time. Ciao, ciao.